Yeah, that's right. I warmed up my nuts. I warmed them up in my hand. Made them really, really warm. And then I enjoyed them. So now I'm going to tell you. Okay, firstly, are you wondering why I'm eating my nuts? Why I warmed up my nuts? Today I'm going to tell you about how you can eat nuts. How eating nuts has changed my life. And why you should always warm up your nuts. Now, firstly, we need to talk about wine tasting. I know we're talking about nuts, but we're talking about wine tasting. Now, most people will have a cup of wine and they will enjoy it with a bit of cheese and some nuts. But what they should do instead is have the wine, have a few pieces of cheese, blue cheese, cheddar cheese, and once that has been done, you take your nuts, you put them in the microwave or you put them on a pan in order so that they would be warmed up and roasted. And that will elevate your wine tasting experience. See, most people do things the normal way. Most people would just drink tea. Most people would just have milk. But you've got to skirt the rules and do something different. Most people, as I said, wine tasting, cheese and nuts. But very few people will ever warm up their nuts. Just like most people will have tea. Here's a cup of tea. And they'll put milk and they'll put sugar. But very few people would take that tea and put it in the freezer so that it becomes icy. And then add some warmed up nuts to it in order to give it that roast flavor. And so today I want to tell you something special. A story about nuts. When I was younger, I was nuts in school. The teacher said, sit down. And I said, I'm not going to sit down. I'm just going to keep on enjoying myself and playing and doing random things with colouring books. For whatever reason I did that. And so I did the unconventional thing. And I said, ma'am, don't you have a trampoline? She said, you want a trampoline now? I said, yes. I don't want to sit down. I want to jump on the trampoline. And she said, this kid. She went to the next teacher and said, do you have a trampoline? And they managed to find a trampoline for me and said, you're going to jump on the trampoline because you have too much energy. See, I've always taken the unconventional route. Be it through warming up my nuts, be it through freezing my tea before I drink it, or be it through jumping on a trampoline before lessons in school. And so the lesson for today is, sometimes you've got to get your nuts warm before you can enjoy them. Now, a more literal interpretation would show you that in order to get your nuts warm, you need to do something extreme. You know, the other day I was listening to a guy who was telling me about how he's involved with Red Bull. And on one of the episodes, he does filming, or he's connected to the filmer. And on one of the episodes on Red Bull, what happened, there was a guy on the top of a massive mountain with a fat ramp. And what he did was he was going down at about 120 miles per hour on his dirt bike going down the hill. Next thing, he ramps off, opens his Batman wings. And then, very similar to skydiving, they call it wing diving or wing floating. There's another word for it. That man did something unconventional. That man got his nuts warm. He got his heart racing. And for him it was exhilarating. And so the lesson we can all draw from that is that sometimes you've got to do something daring. Sometimes you've got to be the one to say, I'm going to warm up my nuts. Or I'm going to freeze my tea. And you know, we have, I believe, lost this pioneering spirit over the last couple of decades. You know, my great-grandfather went by the name of Morris, and we call him Papa. And he was a genius. What he did was he would think up inventions in the middle of his sleep. He would wake up and bring out his notebook and he would write down all the inventions. Because he had a pioneering spirit. The one time he traveled to a foreign location, Italy, and he saw that they had special machinery. I've said before how he saw a riveting machine. But they had other machines, screws and tool manufacturing. And when Morris or Papa came to the factory in Italy and said, I want to buy your machine, please, can you help me? I want to buy the machine. They said, it's thousands of whatever the currency was. Way too exorbitant a figure for Papa to afford. But he was a genius. And when he came back to this country, using his brain and an innate understanding of how the tools work, how the screws are designed, how the rivets are made, he created his own machine. And that proves that back in that day, 1940s, 1950s we're talking, close to 100 years ago, that man, my own grandfather, had a pioneering spirit. And so I believe we have lost that pioneering spirit. Yes, we have a few people in the world who are Red Bull. They'll go down at 120 miles per hour off the cliff. There'll be me, who will freeze his tea before he drinks it. Or who will do wine tasting, but who will first put the nuts on a pan to warm them up. But we have lost the pioneering spirit that has stood the test of time. And so I want to leave you with a lesson today. How are you going to get your nuts warm? Every day I have a hot shower for months. And the other day I decided, you know what, let me change it up. Let me flip it on them. Everybody has a hot shower. I'm going to have a cold shower. And in fact, that day I didn't have much time. I had to quickly strip down and I jumped in the pool. And that was exhilarating because I was going against the status quo. Everybody says have a shower, do it in a relaxed way, think, sing, blah, blah, blah. No. I wanted to get my nuts warm. And I had a cold shower. So the lesson for today is you've got to bring back that pioneering spirit. Your ancestors, 3, 4, 5 generations before you, were busy fighting tigers, fighting leopards, hunting and getting food to support their family like cavemen. And they had a pioneering spirit. They went out on boats. Maps, there's a whole map of the world. Can you imagine how large the map is? Everywhere from America to Indonesia to Africa to Indonesia, to America, to Europe, to Australia, to New Zealand. We have already found out where every single location in the world is. So we have lost the pioneering spirit. But as I said, 3, 4, 5 generations ago, there were people who were explorers, who went out, they flew a hot air balloon, they put their lives at risk, they sailed the 7 seas. We need to bring that pioneering spirit back, because we have lost it. And so, I have a wish for you and a blessing, that you will no longer accept the mundane nature of life, that you will no longer accept the natural flow of events, that you will go through school, university, that you'll get a job, or that you will not be as strong as you possibly can, that you will eat the food that everybody gives you, or that you will have the chocolates when they are set in front of you. Flip it on them. They want you to eat chocolates. Flip it on them and say, haha, I'm too smart for you. You're going to eat my carrots. We need to bring back the pioneering spirit. We need to get our nuts warm. We need to get out there, and we need to be the ones who are exploring. Because if we don't do that, we are going to lose to our ancestors. And they are looking down at us all the time, hoping that we will traverse the 7 seas, that we will go with a motorbike at 120 miles per hour off the cliff and open our Batman wings. So I hope that you will get your nuts warm and that you will do something remarkable.